Welcome to some more fans. My name is Composite Enerjoe, and today I'll be bringing you my review of the Transformers. Well, the Transformers Beast Wars Deluxe class Waspinator, and more specifically, this is referred to as the Fox Kids repaint of Waspinator. And for you younger viewers out there who don't know what that is, Fox Kids was a TV channel, like you probably have heard of something called Fox News. Well, Fox used to have a kids channel. Yeah, they used to. I'm pretty sure they don't have it anymore. But it was a kids channel that showed a bunch of cartoons. And they eventually got the rights to show Beast Wars on their channel. And I guess to sort of take advantage of that, they decided to I guess get in contacts with, was it Hasbro at the time? Yeah, with Hasbro to sort of repaint some of the older Beast Wars figures to reignite interest in some older characters, or at least older form, and in some cases older forms of certain characters. So here we have the Waspinator one, and it's actually not a bad repaint. Not gonna lie, I'm actually digging this color scheme. For those of you who aren't aware, the original Waspinator had a green. What was it? A green thorax and head with a yellow, like a less shiny, more matte yellow thorax, yellow abdomen. So it was so the color scheme of the original Waspinator was green and yellow, while this one is a sort of faded blue, almost like a steel, almost like a grayish blue with a gold. And it doesn't look half bad. I think in some ways, I kind of like this color scheme a little more than the original Waspinator one, but that's just a matter of opinion. The original color scheme, the original Waspinator, I think still looks great. But I'm just saying that this color scheme doesn't look half bad. Now, color scheme aside, this figure is identical to that original Waspinator figure. There are no differences as far as I'm aware. It's just they just changed the color. So all that aside, this is actually a pretty solid little wasp. As the name implies, Waspinator, his beast mode is that of a big wasp. A big, colorful wasp. And it's not bad. Like most Beast Wars figures, it has a bunch of details around. You can see like the eyes, nice detailing, the antennae, the teeth, the mouth, the mandibles, there we go. The segments. It's just a very well done little beast mode. Very nice little wasp here. Although I think he might look more like a hornet under like certain angles, but I think he's a little too big to be a genuine wasp. I think he's more like a hornet, but it's still pretty good. And I think as a representation of the animal, it's also not bad. The one sort of oddity are these back legs are way too big. Wasps and even hornets do not have legs this big. They would all be like this, and they would also just be connected to the thorax. But that's just nitpicking at that point. So that's it for the beast mode. Nice, solid little beast mode. Let's get on with transformation, which is also fairly simple. Let's see if I can remember how to do it. Okay. Oh, and I guess on a little side note, Fox Kids, I think, is how I saw Beast Wars, if I remember correctly. That's how I managed to see it, at least the early episodes. So you come in here, you bring out his arms. Whoops, you do not pop out the arm. So you separate them there, separate like so. The little bug legs, you just fold down like this. Then you come down here, you unpeg. From there, the leg, like so. You, hold on, you rotate this, and it's on a ball joint. Oh, I didn't really show off the articulation because he doesn't have any. The only articulation is in the leg. Well, his wings are on ball joints, and his legs has a ball joint there, a ball joint here, and that's about it. So you have that range of movement. But these legs do not move. They do not move. They can kind of move now because I separated them, and that's just for transformation, but they don't move in bug mode, and that's it. And the wings are on ball joints, so you can do something with that. So let's keep going with the leg. You rotate that, and then you fold it in, and there is a tab in there for you to connect. See, the tab is there, and the peg is on this side. So same here. Unpeg, fold down, rotate there, bring it up, peg it in, And done correctly, you have his wasp legs. And then for this part, you take these, separate them like so. Then you come here, split this. You carefully split this, separate. Then you just bring this down and connect it to these little peg holes here. Like so, and then this one has its own little peg here that you peg into the other head. Like so. And then you lift this entire assembly up, fold down for adjusting, and then push it in there. And with that, we have Waspinator in his beast mode. And it's still a pretty good beast mode. It's fairly accurate to the show, like not 100%, but it's still fairly accurate. It's one of those things that's close enough, especially for such an early figure. Because I think Beast Wars is when they actually started to try and make them look like they do in the show, and to even replicate some of the transformations, which is really cool. Here we have his bug head, which I think it has light piping, but I can't really tell. But you can see that it has the space for it. And again, the head is not 100%, but this is his more show accurate head, which is funny because I think Waspinator is the one of if not the only one whose mutant head. Yeah, this is his mutant head, because early Beast Wars figures had these. That they decided to keep the design of the mutant head instead of his actual robot head. To show off his robot head, you have to come in here, unpeg these, then fold this out, fold this back, and then just rotate this out, peg them back in, like so. And here we have Waspinator's true robot head. Not a bad head sculpt. It kind of reminds me of what was the name of that? What was the name of that figure? Of that character? Nightbite? No. Overbite? Oh, I can't remember now. It was the Mind Wipe. There we go. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like a G1 Mind Wipe, because these look like bat wings. But yeah, that's his robot mode head, and it's not a bad head sculpt. Not bad. Kind of looks like he has goggles, but yeah, for some reason, a lot of people weren't aware that he actually had a second head, so they would just leave it like this. And people liked it. And I even have to admit, I actually prefer this head a lot more, since it actually meshes well with the rest of this. So I feel that Waspinator here is one of the only ones that they decided to have his real head in the show be his mutant head. Now on for our articulation. What do we have? We have a ball joint. Both heads have ball joints. Ball joint at the shoulder, a nice bend at the elbow, and that's it. The wings still have the two ball joints. Legs have a ball joint at up there, and another ball joint here. So he's got a pretty decent amount of articulation, fairly standard stuff. These arms, you have to kind of finagle with them a bit, because they do kind of get in the way, but yeah, not too obtrusive. Let me lift this up a bit. So now let's get to his weapon, and this is actually very cool. His actual stinger can be removed, and here's his little stinger blaster, like so. You just have him hold it in any hand. And if you're wondering, does this thing shoot projectiles? Because it looks like it does. It does shoot projectiles. And this is another thing, and I think this is probably one of my favorite ways of storage that I've seen. Inside of his wings, you have the actual stinger missiles. Ha, stinger missiles, it's a joke. So you actually can store his weapon and ammunition, which is important here. His weapons and ammo can be stored in both. It can be stored away in beast mode and in robot mode. And it does a very good job. And then you just pull the trigger to fire. Pull the trigger to fire. There we go. Push the trigger to fire. There we go. And then you just put it back, and it works for both. But this is very cool engineering, where they were able just to sort of combine all of this together. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the figure. It's a very solid figure. I think it's it's probably one of the better early Beast Wars figures. I think out of the early Deluxe figures, and it's actually probably one of the better ones, in my opinion anyway. So yeah, this Waspinator, very cool figure. For size comparisons, here is a more modern Deluxe figure in form of Ratchet. And here is the Legion class Cliff Jumper. And as you can see, Waspinator is still just a tiny bit smaller than this figure. That might be because I don't have the legs extended out all the way, but yeah. Still, not a bad size. Let's see, so anything else that I should add? So yeah, overall, Waspinator here is still a pretty solid figure. I think any of his repaints work. They're all pretty decent figures. So, and if you say, oh, well, would you rather have an original one or any of the repaints? The figure itself is solid. You can't go wrong with any of its repaints. But I will say that the only reason I got this version of Waspinator, not an original, was because I was trying to get a another repainted of this figure, which was called Buzzsaw, which was a yellow and purple, and I thought that was this one. I later found out that that this was actually Waspinator in the Fox Kids repaint colors. Oops! I genuinely thought that this was the Yellow Hornet that was Buzzsaw. But yeah, even that aside, it's still a solid figure. Yeah, overall, good figure. Recommend it. I feel that he's definitely worth having if you're gonna go after the older Beast Wars figures. So yeah, this has been my review of the Transformers Beast Wars Deluxe class Waspinator, the Fox Kids repaint of it, but it's still the Deluxe class Waspinator. This is Composite Enerjoe signing off. Peace out.